Hello students, welcome to aimsindia online classes. This is a chemistry session. Here we are discussing about the chapter water. So in the earlier sessions we have seen different concepts about water. On those concepts now in this session we are going to have a practice sheet related to the chapter water. Okay. First we are going to see through the practice sheet 1, which includes the conceptual understanding questions and single correct answer type questions. First of all, let us go through the conceptual understanding questions. Okay, see the first one, the solid state of water. We know water is the only substance which can exist in the three states at normal conditions, which will be available in three states of matter at normal conditions. Water can be in the solid state, liquid state, as well as in the gaseous state also. In that, the gaseous state of water is called water vapor, isn't it? In the atmospheric air, there is small quantity of water vapor even at normal conditions also. And in the liquid state, we know general water is in the liquid state itself in the large quantity. And next, the solid state of water. In the solid state, water is available in different forms like ice, frost, snow. These all will come under solid forms of water. So out of those, here they have given snow. So snow is the correct answer now. Okay, this is the correct answer. Next, next question. Which gas is a source for the respiration of water animals? What does it mean by here? Water animals. The animals which are living inside the water are called water animals, which are also called as aquatic animals. Now, these animals, they won't come out for the respiration often. They will be inside the water itself and they take oxygen from the water because there is certain amount of gases dissolved in the water like carbon dioxide and oxygen. So these dissolved gases will be taken by these aquatic animals and plants. Now, aquatic animals, they take the dissolved oxygen gas present in the water. There it is here. Dissolved oxygen gas is taken by the aquatic animals. Next, the water containing salts of calcium plus 2 and Mg plus 2 dissolved in it is called. So if there are salts of calcium and magnesium dissolved in the water, then that water will not produce lather with the soap solution. Such water which do not lather freely with the soap solution is called hard water. Okay, the water containing the salts of calcium and magnesium is called hard water. Why? Because by the presence of these salts, that water cannot give lather freely with the soap solution. Hence, it is called hard water. If it is not having the salts of these ions, then that water gives freely lather with the soap solution. Then that water is called soft water. But because of this presence of the salts of calcium and magnesium, like a calcium bicarbonate, we can say the bicarbonates, chlorides, and sulfates of calcium and magnesium causes hardness to the water, and thus the water containing the salts of these metals is called hard water. Okay, next, hard water is unfit for. So, by the presence of these chemical salts of calcium and magnesium, the water becomes hard in nature. So, that it will be unfit for certain utilities like domestic purpose. Domestic purpose means for bathing, cooking, washing. For this all, that water cannot be used because of the presence of unwanted chemicals of this magnesium and calcium. Even it is not used for industrial purpose also, because if it is passed through the pipes in the chemical industries, these salts of calcium and magnesium will form thin layers, thick layers in the pipes and tubes. So they make the water to stagnate there. They won't pass the water freely and they damage the instruments also. That's why this water is not useful for using the industrial purposes also. And even in the medical purpose also it cannot be used because it is containing these chemicals, unwanted chemicals in the water that cannot be used for medical purpose also. So these all are the purposes where hard water cannot be used. Hard water is unfit for these all purposes. Okay? All of this is correct also now. Next, a sample of groundwater which instead of freely forming lather with soap solution forms a scum or precipitate is called hard water. The water which forms a precipitate instead of producing freely lather is called hard water. Why water becomes hard water? Because of the presence of certain chemicals which are called as bicarbonates or chlorides or sulfates of calcium and magnesium. If any one or all of these, if they present in the water, that water cannot give freely lather with the soap solution. Instead of forming free lather, it forms a scummy precipitate. That's why that water is called hard water. Okay. Metals react with water to form. What do they form metals? Actually, metals, almost many of the metals, they react with the water, but in different conditions. Some metals, they may react even with very cold water also. But some metals, they react with the hot water. And some other metal, they react with the hot steam. But very few metals, they do not react with the water. That depends upon the reactivity of the metal. So generally, on reaction with the water, metals they form mostly metal hydroxides and metal oxides. Highly reactive metals. In the metallic metals, the reactivity can be classified into three parts: highly reactive metals, and the least reactive metals are noble metals. Out of these, highly reactive metals will react with the cold water also, and they form finally metal hydroxides. And some metals, which we say as reactive metals, second category metals, they react with the hot water or steam, and thus they form respective metal oxides. So finally we can say metals on reaction with the water, they form metal oxides and metal hydroxides. Okay, this is correct answer. Next, identify the gas that is responsible for the formation of bicarbonates, which cause temporary hardness of water. So, by the dissolution of one of the gases given here into water, that results in the formation of bicarbonates of metals. What is that gas? That is carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide dissolves into water, that reacts with the limestone present in the water in the form of stones. That is calcium carbonate. It reacts with that in the presence of water and forms calcium bicarbonate. In the same way, this carbon dioxide on reaction with the magnesium carbonate forms magnesium bicarbonate. By the formation of these bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium, water becomes temporarily hard. So temporary hardness of water is because of the gas that is carbon dioxide. Okay, carbon dioxide reacts with the certain salts present under the water in the form of stones like calcium carbonate, magnesium carbonate. So these carbonates react with carbon dioxide dissolved in the water and forms their respective bicarbonates. These bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium are responsible for the temporary hardness of water. Okay, next. The permitted process. In the permitted process, the cylindrical tube is filled with. The cylindrical tube is filled with permitite, which is a chemical substance. Chemically, it is called sodium aluminum silicate. Okay, it is a silicate of certain metals. that is called commonly permutate. This is used for the purification of hard water. To convert hard water into soft water, it is used in one of the processes called permutate process. So it is used permutate. Next, temporary hardness of water can be removed by. How the temporary hardness of water can be removed? Yeah, it can be removed simply by boiling the water. By boiling, we know the temporary hardness of water is because of the presence of bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. If you see the bicarbonate of calcium, if it is present in the water becomes temporarily hard. Now, if this temporary hard water, if it is heated, what happens then? This calcium bicarbonate or magnesium bicarbonate decomposes to form metal carbonate, that is CaCO3, water, and carbon dioxide. In this way, it forms a insoluble solid substance called calcium carbonate, or if it is magnesium bicarbonate, it forms on heating, it forms magnesium carbonate. This magnesium carbonate and calcium carbonate are insoluble into water, which can be furtherly separated by filtration process. So this is done by this process. This is removed from the water. So temporary hardness of water can be removed just by boiling water. By boiling, temporary hardness can be removed. What is happening by boiling? By boiling, the temporary hardness causing chemicals, they are calcium bicarbonate and magnesium bicarbonate. They decompose to form their respective insoluble carbonates, which can be separated by filtration process, and thus the temporary hardness is removed. Okay, next, the basic idea behind rainwater harvesting. Why we need to do the rainwater harvesting? To harvest water, to harvest crops, to catch water where it falls. Of course, these are all the main reasons for water harvesting, rainwater harvesting. You can say this is correct. Okay, next, single correct answer type questions. Let us see here. See the first one. Water is available on the surface of earth in the form of oceans, seas, rivers, ponds, etc. Approximately how much of the earth is covered with water? How much it is covered? Around two-thirds of the two-third parts of the earth is covered with water in the form of different water bodies like oceans, rivers, lakes, ponds. These all. So two-thirds of the earth surface is covered with water. By this process, water can be purified in simple way. What is the simplest way for purification of water? Yes, out of there are different methods for the purification of water. Out of those all, the simplest one is boiling. By boiling, most of the germs and chemicals will be other in bacteria. These all will be killed, and thus water becomes safe for drinking. So, out of these all the process mentioned here, boiling is a simple technique by which water can be purified in the simple way. Next, in water cycle process, the process that takes place before rains is. So, water cycle. What is meant by water cycle? The process in which water converts continuously from one form to another form because of the actions of nature. That is called water cycle. In that process, water from the water bodies like oceans and lakes and rivers, it evaporates into water vapor form. That is called evaporation, and then it is converted into clouds by the process called condensation. And there, these droplets of water becomes bigger and converts into rain. That is called precipitation. So, by the precipitation process, rain starts coming. The droplets of water reaches the earth surface. So, the process which is happening just before the raining is precipitation. By the process of precipitation, rains occur. What is the precipitation process? Small driplets of water vapor present in the clouds. They accumulate together and forms bigger drops of water. As they become bigger and bigger, they become heavier where air cannot hold them further. So that they comes down in the form of rain. That process of becoming rain, bigger droplets and coming down is called precipitation. So the process which is happening just before the raining is called precipitation process in the water cycle. Okay, next. A sample of water contains calcium chloride. Then what is that water? So if there is a salt like calcium chloride in the water, that water cannot give lather further anymore, and thus that water is called hard water. The water which is containing chemicals like chlorides, sulfides, and bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium is called hard water because that water cannot form lather with the soap solution. Okay. Next, calcium nitride plus water gives calcium hydroxide plus dash. Identify A in the given reaction. What will be formed here from calcium nitride? See, try to match this. What will be formed? It forms here ammonia. So, when calcium nitride reacts to the water, it forms calcium hydroxide. Along with that, ammonia is formed. Okay, just from the balanced equation also, we can identify the compound what should be in the place of A here. So on the left hand side, there are two nitrogen atoms which are missing on the right hand side. So there should be two nitrogen atoms. So already here two is there. There should be one nitrogen atom in the substance which we have to find as A. And on the left hand side, there are 12 hydrogen atoms. But here only 6 hydrogen atoms are there. So there should be 6 hydrogens here also. Already there are two in front. So there should be 3 hydrogen atoms in the formula so that they become 6 hydrogens totally. Thus we can say the compound should be in the place of A is ammonia. Okay, next. Aquatic plants take in oxygen from where these aquatic plants take oxygen gas? Do they come out for breathing oxygen? No. Those aquatic animals and plants they won't come out for breathing or for the respiration process. They take the gases which are dissolved in the water. So even aquatic plants also they take oxygen gas which is already dissolved in the water, dissolved air in the water. Okay. Next, we cannot use seawater. Why? Because why can't we use this seawater for different purposes, even though it is existing in the very large quantity? Because seawater is salty. It has large quantities of salts dissolved in it, because of which it cannot be used for different purposes. Only seawater is being used for transport purpose. For remaining processes, this seawater cannot be used because it has large quantities of dissolved salts in it. Okay. Next, what type of water is used for preparing soluble injectables? Means in the preparation of medicines, injectables, the solid chemicals will be dissolved into pure water. So there the doctors they cannot use this normal water or potable water because normal tap water or potable water will be containing certain dissolved gases and salts in that. If this medicine if it is mixed with this water, they will form some different compounds because of the existence of the salts and chemicals in that. So there they have to use compulsory purest form of water for dissolving these medicines like injectables. The purest form of water is called Distilled water. Distilled water contains no other chemicals in it. It contains only pure water. So this distilled water is obtained by the process called distillation. We know that. First water is boiled, that means it is evaporated and it is condensed. These two processes together is called distillation. The water so formed in the distillation process is the purest form of water and it is called distilled water. This distilled water is used in the preparation of certain chemicals and even in the preparing soluble injectables. Okay, next. Purest form of natural water. Just now we told the purest form of water which is prepared in the laboratory is distilled water by different techniques. Even in the nature also, there is one purest form of water that is called rainwater because the same distillation like process is will be going on in the nature also through the process called water cycle. What happens in that? First, through the evaporation process, pure water will be evaporated from the water bodies. Even though that water contains salts, gases, while evaporating, only water molecules will go in and mix into the atmospheric air to form water vapor. And this condenses and precipitates and comes down in the form of rain. So this rainwater is a purest form of water. Of course, after coming down, it may mix with other chemicals present in the atmosphere and soil. But before coming to the earth, at the starting, it will be the purest form. Rainwater harvesting refers to what is meant by rainwater harvesting. It is a method of collecting rainwater for our immediate use. Of course, it is a method of collecting rainwater, but not exactly immediate use. A method of conservation of rains, collecting rainwater for later use. Actually, it is the correct answer. So, by the rainwater harvesting process, we collect the rainwater and we use that rainwater for our purposes in the later times. Okay, it is correct. Next, temporary hardness of water is due to the presence of. Yes, hardness of water is because of two types of chemicals. One is bicarbonates of calcium and magnesium. These chemicals cause temporary hardness to the water. So temporary hardness of water is because of the calcium and magnesium bicarbonates. Whereas chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium they cause permanent hardness to the water. Right? Next. Yeah, it is asked here. Permanent hardness of water can be removed by adding. How can we remove the permanent hardness of water? Yes, we can remove permanent hardness of water by adding washing soda, sodium carbonate. By the addition of this, those chlorides and sulfates of calcium and magnesium converts finally into respective insoluble carbonates. They can be removed by filtration process and thus permanent hardness can be removed. So this is done by addition of washing soda to the water. Right? Next, why is mineral water better than distilled water for drinking? Yes, why it is preferable to drink mineral water than distilled water? We are telling distilled water is the purest form of water. Then why are we not drinking this distilled water? We are preferring to drink mineral water. Why? Because distilled water is the purest form of water which do not contain any salts in it, any salts or dissolved gases. But the water which is suitable for drinking should contain small quantities of dissolved salts and gases in it. Then only it is suitable for drinking, then only it is called potable water. That water which is containing small quantities of dissolved salts is called mineral water. So this mineral represents salts. Mineral water means the water which is containing minerals dissolved in it. Around if you take 1 liter of water, that should contain around 2 grams of dissolved salts in it, like sodium chloride and some other salts. Then only it is suitable for drinking. That water is called mineral water. So what will be the correct answer now? Mineral water contains dissolved salts in it. This is correct answer. Okay, that's about the level 1 practice sheet based upon the water chapter. Thank you for watching our video. Please subscribe our YouTube channel Aims Today and visit our website aimstoday.in for latest updates on recorded videos.